Hello and happy New Year's Eve. It's the 31st of December and we are hot on 2025 starting tomorrow. Please excuse the mess behind me. If I sit up straighter, you can't really see it. I hope you can hear me today. You can see here that I do have my portable microphone today, so hopefully the sound is better. I've been quiet, I guess, lately, and that makes sense. When I'm in my office back there, I am farther away from my computer, so that stands to reason. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. I did. I'm exhausted still, but it was the best Christmas Eve and Christmas Day that I have had in a long time. Mass was absolutely gorgeous. Christmas Eve the church was jam-packed. It was packed. And then Christmas Day, I sang at the 9:30, so the early Mass, and that was beautiful as well. It was really a special Christmas. I think probably because I wasn't worried about if my ex was going to show up or if he was going to come in the evening or when I was going to see him or if he was okay. I just had to take care of me. And knock on wood, we didn't have to call the ambulance like we did last year because my grandmother choked at Christmas dinner last year. I'm sure everyone remembers. So yeah, it was great. The food was good. Everything was on time. I got some lovely gifts that I certainly don't deserve. And now it is time to have a Flosstube. And this is going to be my WIP Parade. And I took about an hour and a half to pull all of my WIPs out, get them out of the bags, put them in order from when I started. So I'm going to be going from my oldest WIP to my planned new starts for tomorrow because I have 2 new starts planned for tomorrow. So I have 4 stacks, and when I finish each stack, I'll pause, and then I will put those away, because otherwise, as I'm going through them, I think it'll just get so messy and overwhelming that I will just never put it all away, and I'll just have a mess forever, because like I said, it took forever to figure it all out, and then to make sure I had project cards for everything, and then it was a lot. So actually, I'm not going to count up my finishes from last year, but Steph and I counted them, and I think if you count the 24 ornaments, which I do because they were embroidered, and you count my knitting projects, I probably had about 57 finishes last year. And then some of the biggest were Christmas Spirit, which was my oldest WIP, and then Prayer of St. Francis, which I gave to Fra the 18th or 19th, because she guessed what it was, so I figured I would just give it to her. And she loved it. It's hanging in the living room. And she cried, which I did not expect, especially since she knew what it was, but that was cute. So that was 2 very big finishes last year. I did her 24 ornaments. I did 8 of the monthly Quakers, which I will show you when I get to them because I still have a couple more to do, so they're a WIP. I did smalls, a lot of smalls. I did the Our Father on that beautiful purple fabric for my Aunt Mary. So I had a lot of finishes last year, some big ones too. And hopefully, I like to get a couple big ones done, especially because my WIP list, last year I wanted to get it under 15, and then my ex and I broke up, and I started whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, and I just didn't care. And based on this list, I have 23 WIPs, but I might be missing 1 or 2, so I'm going with 23, but it might be 25. We'll see. If you can keep count, you're better than I am. But I do have, you can't see it because it's under my computer, but I have Steph sent me a beautiful Christmas gift, which included my planner for this year. So actually, I might regret this. But she sent me this with a pack of pens. And then they, excuse me, wanted this to be like addresses. So I just changed it to WIPs. And then it's the name, the designer, when I started it, and then hopefully when I finish it. And they did all fit on one page, but I do have a second blank page because I know there will be more. And then I have started January, so that's one of my 2 planned starts for tomorrow. So without further ado, let's get to it. Okay. So my first WIP is With Thy Needle and Thread, Winter Rose Manor. This is started January 1st, 2021. It is now officially my oldest WIP because I finished Christmas Spirit last year and that had been my oldest WIP. Excuse me. I have Flosstube nose. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. So, anyway, Winter Rose Manor. It's by With Thy Needle and Thread. I started it January 1st of 2021. I am using a 32 count Bramble from Picture This Plus. I am using the Vicky Clayton Silk Conversion. Ooh. Which I have in this lovely box. And the best thing about this box is it has room for the actual conversion, because I can't lose that. And then there are her gorgeous silks. This will be my focus piece every month. 2 years ago, before last year, which we won't talk about, what I did was I would have a focus piece. So at the time it was Consider the Lilies, and I would work on that for like either 10 days or 2 weeks. And it would be like my big focus project. And then I would move on to one of my WIPs. This will be that this year. And then the rest of the month I will work on a WIP until, of course, I start something new. But this will get done this year. So anyway, this is what it looks like. I think everyone's seen this a million times. It was originally, I think, for a club or some sort of thing, and you couldn't get it. And as soon as it was available, I bought it. I love that pink house. And here is what I have done. So last year I did work on this, I think in January, and I finished the border all the way around. So I've got that lovely right there. So that's WIP number 1. And I stored that rolled up last year, so it is wrinkled. But yeah, I will finish that in 2025. I do like to get rid of my oldest WIPs. All right, so next is Nantucket Rose. This is a lavender and lace piece. I love lavender and lace. And this one is on a scroll rod, and I am really not going to have enough of a margin. Like, I will have a 1/2 inch to frame, but I'm not ripping all this out, and I would never start it again, and I love it. So we're just going with it. So anyway, please don't point out that I'm an idiot and didn't actually start where I should have. I'm aware. So there is, this is on using the called for DMC. It is, do I have a project card for this? I feel like I do. Here first is the called for DMC. It's definitely my colors, those greens and pinks and creams. Very beautiful. Could have swore that I had a project card that fell on the floor before. Oh well. I started this 4/16 of 22, so this is my second oldest WIP. And I think that this is a 32 count from Classic Colorworks, and that's what I'm pretty sure. But it's like a light blue, kind of like the sky. And where is she? Her dress is going to go down over in here, and I counted it out. It will fit-ish. Also, how cute are these scroll rod covers that Steph made? Harry Potter, of course, because, you know, pink, light green, Harry Potter, it's for me. So that is number 2. Number 3 is Told in a Garden, The Harvest. That is upside down. Things are going great here. So this is The Harvest by Told in a Garden. And I'm using the Called For DMC. Again, I love all these colors. They're very similar colors, actually, to Nantucket Rose. Love them. Don't know why this one is so long. And here's what I am using a 28 count Stony Point. I'm assuming this is just a Zweigart 28 count. I had it in stash and it was like the perfect color. Might be what was called for, I don't know. Here is what I have done so far. So I have the tree and the quilt done. I think this year when I work on this, I will probably work all the way across, get the rest of the way across, and then go down. The quilt is just beautiful. The tree was harder than you might think. It's not terribly confetti heavy. There's only 3 or 4 colors in there, but it's enough. So that is number 3. Now next, technically this should have been up higher. This is, I guess, what we would consider my oldest WIP. But calling it a WIP is a bit of a stretch because I do 4 a year. So this is my Prairie Schooler Santas. So I can actually show you 1999. So I finished this the 18th or 19th. So last year, December 31st, I was frantically stitching a Prairie Schooler Santa. And this year I finished with like a week and a half to spare, or 2 weeks almost. I am doing these on an 18 count oatmeal fiddler's cloth, which Michael's no longer carries, I think I told you, but 123 Stitch does, and tomorrow I'm placing an order for that and some Krynic that I need. So I didn't do the border because it's another one that's just a like quick backstitch border, so I didn't think it needed it. I did add all the back stitching that was called for though, which for me is a win. And I think he looks great. So I used the called for DMC. This is all of the DMC that I have used for my first 16 Prairie Schooler Santas. And I'm going to be obnoxious and you all have to look at them now and see what I've done because I'm proud of them. So I keep them all in this box until I fully finish them. And I did have a comment on my last video, and I did comment back, or maybe it was an Instagram message. It was about the pattern that I'm going to use for making the book. And I think I linked it below my last video. But if you're looking for it, just leave me a comment and I will send that to you. I need to buy it though. Okay, so anyway, this is 1999. Here is 1998. Here is 96. Hopefully 97's under there. I did do the back stitching on that one. Yes, phew. There's 97. Here's 94. 95, 93. This was a fun one. Here is 92. This was the yellow guy, the fisherman. This is, oh, here is the first 4 I did actually. So this is 84, 85, 86, and 87. So that year, for some reason, I did not cut them apart, but I learned after that. Here is 89. I didn't put the year on this one. Oh, but this one's beautiful, if I don't say so myself. Don't know what year that is. 88. Love that one. That one is just so 80s with the little hearts in the corner. And 91. This was the complicated coat. So those are all of my Santas. So 84 to 99 done. So that's 16, right? 88, 92, 96. Yeah, 16. I want you to know I've done that math a lot of times. You'd think I'd know by now. So they're going to go back in their box. I do have to take a picture of the last one. So we'll put that aside. And then just for my own sense of curiosity, here are the next years. So this is 2000. Good boys and girls. 2001. Partridge in a Pear Tree. I am so excited to do this. I'll probably do 2. 2002, little Williamsburg Santa. And 2003. And I will not be doing any of them until I order the fabric from 123 Stitch. All right, so that's my Prairie Schoolers. Next is, sorry, got a drink. Kringles by Little House Needleworks. I am using a 30 count Parisian gray with the called for floss 2/2. This came out in March of 2020 and me and literally everybody else in the cross stitching world bought it. Here it is. It's beautiful. Sorry about any glare. And I think I worked on this last year. Here's the floss. Looks like it's been through a war, because it has been. And eggshell. And I apparently started working on one of the houses, or rooms, which I don't remember doing. So I got some good work done last year. I got the first brick work done, and then I started the interior. So I think my goal when I pull this out, so that's this one, will be to finish that and then probably start the black underneath. Because there's really not much in there. It's a little like Nutcracker scene. And Little House, the nice thing about their interiors is they're not that busy. And I've already got Clara's dress done. All right. This one's embarrassing. I started this on my birthday of 2022. Oh, project card. This is Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow. I am using the DMC conversion. It calls for MPI silks, but that's how many colors are in there. And your girl is not made of money. Here is the floss ring. It is intense, especially because I have not put a single color in there. I am using a 40 count, what's the called for? Sand Dune from Lakeside Linens is what's called for. To be honest, that might be what I'm using. I got it. I ordered the fabric on 123. So the border is complete. I know it's on 40 count because I have to use a light to do it. So all I have done, I don't think I worked on this last year, is the border. And my goal was last year, I didn't work on this, but my plan had been to work on the top. And that will be my plan this year, God willing, when I work on this. So I am trying to give myself a lot of grace for last year. Once I got off track, I stayed pretty off track, but I think that that's okay. I feel like I have come through the fog and am back to myself. I think I am who I should be. Let's just say that. So, last year was really hard, but it was a good year of growing, and we are giving ourselves grace on not working on what we should have. Next is my January 1st of 2023 new start, and this is by Lindy Stitches and To All a Good Night. I keep looking at my planner. I have a project card. I went through all the trouble to make sure I had project cards. Anyway, there it is. I think I worked on this last year. I'm using the Called For Floss, which is a mix of DMC and Fancy Floss. I loved this so much, and I still do. Where am I going to put all these things? I just don't have the wall space for it all because I can't really hang anything downstairs. So I have like a mural or a gallery wall in here, and really everything has to go in here. And I like big projects. So anyway, there's the floss again. And I'm using a 20 count. It's just a plain 20 count with dots. She called for a dot fabric, and she called for like a 14 or 16, and I happen to have a 20 count. So that's what I'm using. So that's what I have done so far. So I think I have a full page finished. So probably when I work on it this year, I'll continue across the top and work on the deer because I'm going to enjoy working on the house because I like a house. So I can't do that first because if I do, I probably won't pick anything. I just won't go back to the rest of it. It's important to be self-aware. All right, last one for this stack. I do not know when I started it. I know I started it in 2023. But I did not make floss cards at the time, and I can't find it in my Instagram. So this was a gift. The floss and the pattern were a gift from my brother. It's called George Decorates for Martha. It's by Plum Street Samplers. I am using an 18th count Bestitch Me fabric. I think it's honey. I'm using the Called For Floss, which is a mix of Weeks, Classic Colorworks, and DMC. And all my floss looks like it's been through a war because it just has been. And I finished the border last year. I think I worked on this last winter. So I finished the border and then I worked on her and I started Mount Vernon, which I will probably backstitch around so it's a little more easy to see because I can see it. And it is not even close to the same color as the honey, but it's just hard to see because it's a like white, creamy white. So, but that is the color of Mount Vernon, so I can't really change the color of that. So I'll backstitch it. Because backstitching is a miracle. Okay, that is my first pile, so hang on 1 second. Well, you don't have to hang on. I'm going to put this away and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. That didn't take too long. Okay, next I started 8/19 of 23, and that is Bucella's Madonna and Child. I'm making this for my friend Bernadette, whose daughter's name is Lily, and whose mother's favorite flower was a lily. So I did do a conversion from the kit floss to DMC, because I was worried that I would mess up the colors in the kit. So here they are. And then this is what it will look like. It's very long. It's beautiful. And then I was bad and I left this on the hoop. And it's been on the hoop for a long time. So really I should take it off. I also switched out the fabric and I'm using a 32 count Irish linen. So that's how big it will be. But I am down at the very bottom. So there is what I have done. I need to pick this up this year because I want to give this to my friend. So this is on it was supposed to be a 14 count Aida, and like I said, I'm doing a 32 count, and I did calculate it. I have enough fabric, though now I'm nervous. So I'm sure that when I'm done here, I'm going to frantically check and make sure I have enough fabric again, because that's who I am as a person. I'm an old woman. Bending over like that just hurt my back. Okay, next was my 2023 new start, and that was Autumn House by Maria Brovka. It's got an O at the end. Brovka. Eastern European accents, though my family hails from there, are very difficult for me. That's it. I am using a 18 count Through the Stones, which I love this color, and this is a fabric of the month from Bestitch Me. I did not work on this year. I meant to, and I didn't. But I have a good showing on this. Like I said, I'm using the called for DMC. Hang on, let me make it so you can see it. So that's what I have done so far. There are a shocking amount of color changes in this, but I love it. There was just something about this house, probably because of the lights in the windows, that felt very comforting, is the word. So next is a giant WIP that will, God willing, be done in the next like 6-ish weeks. So that is my monthly Quakers. You can see I'm all ready to go with January 1st tomorrow. And these are the ones I have done and FFO'd because I do have, oh wait, hold please. I 100% just almost fell out of my chair, but it was worth it. All right, so January, February. I just dumped them all over. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and then here is August. And then I started finally September, which will look like this. I had to restart this because I started it and figured out I didn't have enough fabric. I'm using an 18 count cream Aida for all of these. So that's what I have done so far. This little motif here, I have spent more time ripping out than stitching. I think I've yet to do a star that I have not had to rip part of it out. Oh, and this is in the wrong color purple, but I was not ripping it out. I am using the DMC conversion for all of them unless I have the fancy floss. So that's September. I cannot show you October because my printer had a stroke. Here is November, which has an adorable squirrel. These are from the Heart Needle Arts, by the way. So that's November. And I will be finishing these. And then I love December too. I love that wreath. So I still really like these. I was working on Prayer of St. Francis and everything else went away. Really, if it was not emergent, it didn't get stitched. I ended up making a pair of fingerless mitts for my sister-in-law. I made a koozie for my brother's lunch container. Those both had to be knitted. I finished Steph's cowl, scarf thing. So, I mean, it's not that I was not busy the last few months. I did a lot of knitting. Knitting for me is faster than cross stitch, but because of that, I don't leave enough time. So I go from like, oh, it's fine, to, oh my gosh, I must knit really fast. And that is exactly the noise I make. So anyway, these patterns were a Christmas gift last year. Well, my friend gave me a Visa gift card, and that's what I bought. And I love them all, and I really do want to finish them. So that is high on the priority list. And actually, I think, you know what? I just got through another pile, and I was going to keep going, but I am going to pause. I'm going to be smart. Okay, I'm back again. So just so you know, I did check, and I put my fabric against what they sent me, which was a 14 count Aida, and I have more fabric than they gave, so we're good. Okay, so I actually have to go backwards because in between George Decorates for Martha and Madonna and Child, I did not have this listed as a WIP, but I started Frogwarts Year 2. So I've already finished Year 1. I finished Year 1 and now I'm working on Year 2. I'm using the DMC conversion, and again, if I have the fancy floss, I do use it. But I generally don't. I think I have talked about this before. I do the Frogwarts box specifically for these patterns, but the patterns themselves are not well written. They are very small and they're very difficult to read. I guess I can't really show you. But the symbols are very difficult to read and they are too small. But anyway, I'm committed. A couple more years. I am using a 32 count parchment for this. And every time I unroll this, I think I have a little more done than I thought I did. So this goes with me to retreats because it's easy to work on. But hopefully I do actually get some more work done on it this year. I generally stitch this in hand. I think I have it loaded into Pattern Keeper, which helps. But if you just buy the pattern, I would recommend buying so with the Frogwarts box, eventually they'll sell the patterns. And with the Frogwarts box, you can either get the digital pattern or the physical pattern. And I wanted the physical pattern because I'm spending all that money. I want something physical. And in my humble opinion, they should just send me the PDF. Because often the box is like coming late. So anyway, the PDF is easier to read. Year 1, they gave us both. So I know it's easier to read. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go off on that tangent. I really like that one. It's just a frustration. So anyway, that is going backwards. And then I showed you Autumn House, Monthly Quakers. And now we are all the way up to 2024. So I started the Monthly Quakers 1/1 of 24. And so now the next like 10 WIPs are from 2024. So first off, Cottage Garden did monthly houses last year. And I got them. And the first one, I am doing mine, by the way, on a 40 count Stonehenge from Bestitch Me. And I started this on 2/17 of 24. And that's the first one. And there's apparently 13 houses. And I looked, and I don't have the 13th pattern. So I'm unclear if I paid for it and got it and lost it during Christmas, or if I didn't pay for it and don't have it. But that's a future Katie problem. I am using the called for colors, actually. I'm lying to you. Instead of Ladybug, which is the classic color called for, I'm using Weeks Dye Works Turkish Red, because it's a very Christmassy red. And then I thought I had Plymouth Rock, but I must not. So I'm lying. I'm using DMC, but I am using, for the white, I am using Blanc instead of 3799. So I did switch that out. And just so you know, they called for Prehistoric Linen by Fox and Rabbit. So I have a decent start on this. She's tiny. So like I said, it's 40 count. The house is started. The deer at the bottom are done. I plan to get back to this soon. I really, really like this piece. And it's just been sitting waiting for me. So I have, like I said, at least 12 of them, if not 13. I'll only do 12 because it'll be 3, 3, 3, 3. I have a giant piece of fabric here. But I will, one of the houses that I don't like, I'll skip. If I have that. I feel like the 13th house is like a Tudor house. Hang on. No, don't hang on. Moving on. We're already 35 minutes in. You guys are probably so sick of me by now. But I love you. Thanks for being here. Next is Prairie Schooler Angels. I started this 3/17 of 24, and I started this because of the Twisted Stitcher. Thank you, Vanna, for being an endless problem for me when it comes to new starts. I'm using the called for DMC. I love Prairie Schooler because they use DMC. And I copied Vanna in many ways. First, on doing the pattern, I am using a 32 count black that I got from 123 Stitch. And she charted Gloria in Chelsea's Deo, which is, you know, Gloria in Chelsea's Deo. So she charted that over 1. I am very, very pleased with my over 1. So I have 2 of the boxes done. And I'm sure that I stopped because Mark and I broke up in March, and I stopped working on WIPs and just started new things, because apparently that's how I deal with stress. And that's why I have so many starts in 2024. I'm never going to get them all done. Next up is my Harry Potter sampler, which I started 4/14 of 24. So there was like a craze. This woman, I'm assuming it's a woman, on Etsy, she did like a Mary Poppins sampler, Lord of the Rings sampler, Harry Potter sampler. They're monochromatic. Love them. Of course, started the Harry Potter first. Definitely want to do Lord of the Rings also. I am using a 20, what I think is, it's a mystery gray. I think it's 25 count, might be 20 count, but I'm over 1 with 1 strand. This is the pattern, and this is a black and white copy, but it's monochromatic, so it doesn't matter. I am not doing the outside border, so I am just doing the 4 blocks. So the first block is Phoenix the Fox. I give up. The first box. Why am I like this? The first box is Phoenix the Fox. Never mind. This is what I have done. I should also take this out of a hoop. Yeah, that's it. So that's a lot of tiny little stitches in there. I've almost picked this up several times recently, and just, well, to be honest with you, I couldn't find it. I don't remember where I ended up finding it today, but it was legit lost, and I was panicked that it was gone forever. I was like, what did I do with this thing? All right. Next is Sacred by Teresa Kogut. So this is Sacred Heart of Jesus, which if you look closely on my necklace, I have on this side. Nope. Sacred Heart of Jesus. You can't see it anyway. Sacred Heart of Jesus. Beautiful. I am doing this on a 25 count linen from like Hobby Lobby. I don't know why I'm throwing you that. I am using the called for floss. I'm using the DMC. Does it call for any fancy floss? It calls for all fancy floss, but I am using the DMC because. So that's the DMC. And I have a decent start on this. This will be my Lent piece. I think I put this down when I started working on Burke's piece, the breastplate of St. Patrick. I did get a lot of big finishes because I did the breastplate of St. Patrick for Burke too, and that was huge. Not huge, it was big. Next up is a May 26, 2024 start. I am doing the Yellow House by Dimensions. It's a gold collection petite, and I did switch out the fabric. I'm using a 32 count color in cotton. To be honest, I don't know what the color is, but this is what it's going to look like. She's tiny and cute. And here's what I have done. So I'm doing boxes of 100 at a time. So I do a whole box of 100 and then I move on and do another box of 100. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's probably 600 or so stitches there. But it's really small. This is the door. And that's the window, and then it goes down just a little bit further, and then it goes up. And I'm just using the called for. The nice thing about Dimensions kits is they number their colors, unlike Bucella, which does not, which is a frustration for me. All right, instead of putting those away, I'm going to move on because I have to make my grandmother dinner, but I don't want to stop filming. So next is, these are 4, but there's a 5th bird here that you can't see, from, this is Winter Bird cards, but I am making these for my friend Susie. I finished one and framed it into a Hobby Lobby frame. I am using the called for DMC. I will do one of these for her birthday and one for Christmas until they're done. And I have nothing to show you, but I'm using a 25 count Frost Lugana from Bestitch Me. So that's my next WIP. So I won't pick that up until probably June or July, but I have it written in my calendar when, so I don't forget. Next is another new start. They're all new starts. This is Owl Forest Roses. Why am I showing you this? I am using, hang on, this is Yellow House. Where did I put that? It is, the fabric is called Volcano. I don't remember what size. I think it might be a 20 count Aida. Jen and I split a giant piece of fabric, and I was not in charge. It was her fabric. She sent it to me. It's beautiful. And I have the piddliest little start you ever did see. Here's the piece. And I'm not doing the whole thing. That's all I'm doing. Because it looks like a big old Gothic cathedral. I love it. And then I'm using the Owl Forest black floss that they dye themselves. And then here's all I have. That's it. That's my piddly little start. But now that Christmas is over, I can stitch on things for me again. So next is the Blue Flower Winter Blooms, and for some reason I keep calling this Abide, which is stupid because it says bloom, not abide. It says bloom amidst the winter snow. This was free, not free, I got it in an advent box years ago. It's a stitch on a 40 count driftwood linen from Color and Cotton. And I am using the called for Fancy Floss and DMC. So, whoops. There's the colors. And then it came with the finishing fabric, but I think I used it for something else, so I don't know how I'll be finishing this. I really like this color, and I really like the 40 count. I do need a light for it. So that's all I have done. But it's in the hoop, because maybe I'll pick it up again. And then next, I do not have a picture of this. This is a Cottage Garden Samplings, and it's like a Halloween cauldron. And I am using the DMC, except for the black, I used Cottage Garden Threads Felix, which is a great black. And this is on a like 28 count mystery gray that I had in my stash. And that's what I have done so far. The little frog at the bottom is so cute. So I will pick this up next summer. I have to make a note of that too, because I am doing that for my friend Donna. And then Christmas Eve, I had no chill. And I have really wanted to start this since I ordered it last Christmas. And that is The Greatest Gift. And Christmas Eve, well, I didn't really have any time to stitch, but I get up very early to have some time to pray and drink my coffee, and I stitched during that time. And I was like, you know what? I kept thinking about Christmas Eve Mass and the beautiful nativity at my church that heaven knows what's going to happen to, and that Mass was going to be at Nativity of our Lord for the last time and how special it was going to be. And then, I don't love this, but I understand. It's the family Mass. So Santa comes out and he brings a gift to the baby Jesus, and then he gives the priest something and whatever. But I have had this in my stash for a year, wanting to, or maybe two, wanting to start it. And I was like, you know what? We're just going to do it. We're going to start it. So this is Janlin. The floss colors are not numbered, so I'm just guessing. I am using the called for floss, the called for fabric. I started using the called for needle, very quickly changed that out. And I've gotten some decent work done on it. So, sorry, you can see right through that. There we go. So I think I've put 3 colors in so far. I'm hoping to work a couple more days on that. Here's all the colors, there's many. But we shall see. And then Steph and I, on Friday, we started, she sent me this as my big Christmas gift, and that is Next Door by Beth Twist. And it says, I wish you lived next door. And I cried because Christmas makes me emotional. And I'm using the called for floss because she sent it to me. Except for one of them, the Weeks Island something, she didn't have, or they didn't have, or whatever, and she, darn, pulled a Silks for You, so I have to use silk for that. Terrible to be me. So those are the colors, not too many. She also sent to me a pack of stitch markers, so that's a stitch marker on there, and it's on a 40 count Oaken Newcastle linen, and it's beautiful. It's very dainty. So you can see I've got most of the border done, and the tree is in. But I haven't worked on it in a little while because she's like, I'm not working on it. And I was like, okay, I'll wait. And then this I'm going to finish up tonight. This is, I already did this, but this is Strength and Dignity by The Proper Stitcher. And my cousin Carolyn really liked the one I did, but she asked just for the words. So I am using the 32 count Winter Wishes, what's left of it. And I'm doing the words. So I'm on the bottom line. So I've got the Proverbs backstitched in, and then I just have to do the last of the words. And then I'm going to go in and around, and I used the mauve instead of the pink, but I'm going to go in with the pink and just put little flowers around. And it's going to fit in a 5x7 frame, and that is going to go to her. So that doesn't count as a WIP because that's just about done, and it was one of those that just took a couple hours. But that is my last WIP. But now, quickly, because this is already 50 minutes long, let's talk about my plans. So I have several plans, you know me. The first off is tomorrow I am starting, I forgot the picture, hang on. Okay, I'm back. So tomorrow I'm starting two things. One, I am starting 324 by Works by ABC, and this uses, I want to say all of the DMC colors, but I probably am wrong, but pretty close. And Steph, the real gift is she has broken down the colors and has sent me what I have to do for the first month, and will continue to send to me what I have to do each month. And she, with God bless her ADHD, I'm assuming, has broken it down. So this is row 1, and you go this way, and then she wrote a little arrow, and you go this way, and then this is row 3, and you go this way. And apparently, if I finish this in January and all the other months, I'll finish this giant project at the end of the year. The problem was I didn't really know what kind of fabric to do, and I'm still trying to decide, because I think I should use white, because I think that because it's so many colors, should be on white. And I did find, I of course did not have anything big enough, because I only buy white at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby, and just in the packs they have. But I found that I got on clearance, probably because they stopped carrying it, a 22 count Hardanger fabric, white, from Hobby Lobby. So I think, I hesitate because it's huge, big piece. I don't really want to use it because it's so big, but I'm gonna, I think. I also have a 22 count or 25 count in a cream, but I just think that it should be white. So I'm starting that tomorrow. That's my first new start. That's a year-long start. That's going to be like the monthly Quakers. That'll be my monthly piece. And it's loaded into Pattern Keeper and ready to go. Then my second new start is with Jen, because she and I see, the problem is Jen stitches so fast that she'll finish this tomorrow. And I'll get like 100 stitches in. But this is, who is this by? I don't remember who this is by. It's a 2025 sampler. The Camping something? I don't remember. That's it. She does a sampler at the beginning of every year. It's very cute. And I decided, from deep in my stash, I pulled out Forbidden Fiber Co. Lizzie's Laughter. So it's like a grayish purple, because it's one color, so you can get a little crazy. And then from even deeper, deep in my stash, I don't know where this is from. It's a 31 count linen fat quarter called Creepy Land. And I'm going to use that, I think. Maybe I should just do a purple. Might change the floss color. Definitely using this fabric. That's my other new start for tomorrow. That I will start bright and early in the morning. Right when I get up. I'm singing at 8 o'clock Mass, so I have to get up at my normal time. Can't sleep in tomorrow. Luckily, I don't stay up, so it doesn't matter. But that is my new starts for tomorrow. And then, I think I told you, for 24 hours of cross stitch, if I'm home, I think I am, I'm going to start my Christmas gifts for Fra. And I pulled a bag of an ornament pack. I pulled another ornament pack. I pulled another ornament pack. And then I have a 14 count opalescent. I wish this was like a really big piece of opalescent, because then I could do 324 on this, but alas. And then I have the floss. I just have to get it onto a ring, but there it is. So those are my January plans, and that's my WIP Parade. Looks like a bomb went off in here, but I have to go make dinner now. I'm gonna make crepes for dinner. Happy New Year's to us. I will probably clean this all up tomorrow. And then we'll see about uploading tonight. It'll depend. But anyway, I know that if you're still here, you might have all left already. But I know that it was a strange year for me. And you all were so kind while I found my feet after my breakup with Mark. The amount of Reese's candy that I got was a gift. Peanut butter is my comfort food, 100%. But people reaching out, messages from Jenny, Michelle, like all of you, like just all of you were just so kind, and I will never ever be able to thank you enough for that. And now I have enough cross stitching to do to get me through until I die. I think I could start nothing else until I die and still not finish it all. But that's okay. So we're going into 2025 with 23 WIPs and 3 planned new starts. And I'm not setting a goal out loud. Well, I guess I am. I would love to get back under 20 WIPs. I know these are all really big projects, but some of them I think I could finish this year. So we shall see. Anyway, thank you again for being here. Know that I love your comments and I read them even if I don't reply. I try to. It just depends on the time that I have, and I apologize for that. I hope the sound was better, and I will talk to you all in 2025. Know that you are always in my thoughts and my prayers. Bye.